This is the Spokane Soccer Show, proudly presented by Flatstick Pub, and I am still your host, Benji Wade. Joining me to serve up only the best vibes about all things soccer in the fine city of Spokane, it's Ryan Harnetiaux of USL Spokane and Aequus Sports. Welcome back to the show, Ryan. Welcome to Season 4, Spokane.
Thanks, Benji. It's awesome to be back here. It's great. Long time coming.
It is a long time coming because I just noticed, I had to go do a little bit of research. Last time you were on the show was October 30th of 2024.
Wow. That tracks.
If memory serves, Marley Canales banger goal top bins against Tampa Bay Sun right before they went on the road and ended up losing the first game, I think on Halloween night to Brooklyn.
That makes sense.
Does any of this, when they weren't even playing in Coney Island or wherever they play, they were playing at like Columbia's school.
They played, up at Columbia. You're right.
I'm just showing off the fact that I am a broken person whose brain doesn't forget things that I wish I could. I wish I could replace the hard drive space with more critical information.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Well, we'll never forget that goal. I remember talking about it.
Oh, my God. It was one of the best goals of the year.
Yep.
I did not talk to you at all in 2025. Big ol' asterisk on the podcast.
Correct.
You and I had plenty of conversations in 2025. But first and foremost, right off the dome, I just want to say welcome to the new studio.
Thanks. This place is great. I love it.
I had to get rid of me and my co-host and one of my best friends, Luke. We do the movie podcast as well. And I just was constantly feeling like if someone else doesn't make fun of us, I'm going to make fun of us. But it turns out both things happened. We looked like we were at a comedy cellar.
Right.
And I think it fit okay for Spokane Soccer Show vibes. It definitely didn't fit the movie podcast vibes. But anyway, much more space where we are right now. So
this is fantastic.
Yeah. Shout out to the Sheehan family. I know you know the Sheehans.
I'm a big Sheehan fan. They're part of our ownership group for the club, as a lot of people might know. So I'm glad they found a home for you here.
I'm very, very grateful because I feel a vibe in this space that I just didn't before, independent of the brick wall. Nonetheless, can we just talk about the beautiful multicolor elephant in the room, Ryan?
Yes, I'd love to.
Check this out.
Congratulations.
Shirt reveal. Here we go.
Looks awesome on you. And turn it around for the fans.
Okay, I got to turn. Let me see if I can turn this around. Let me see if I can cheat this. Can you see this?
Yeah, it looks good.
I've got my name on this shirt. Thank you, USL Spokane. Thank you, Ryan. Yes, Mike Policio, my co-host, who's not here today. He's helping our friend Jesse Rattan coach the Shadow team. You have one too, Mike.
We'd like to thank the kit man for putting your name on there too, Aaron Vega.
Yeah, so from what I've been told, I'm the only one who even has a name on his shirt.
You are the inaugural City Lights jersey kit wearer. Yep.
Yeah, wait, let's get out all the promotional plug for this. It is called the City Lights kit. It is a limited run. I want at some future date, because I can't help but be picky about all things, even things that are incredible like this kit. The early reception, by the way, even among non-Spokane people, has been like, this shirt slaps. So yeah, shout out to you guys. A 3D badge. I want the badge that Zephyr FC have. They have the little rubberized 3D elevated, to use your expression, badge.
Yeah.
How do I get that?
Well, I don't know, but what if I told you that because it's in pre-order, we could actually swap out that badge when we put the order in for it?
I like this. Yeah. I like this a lot.
I don't know if that's possible. A majority of the time I spend at work is saying things around other people that I'd like to see happen, but I have no idea how it gets executed. Okay. And so people come back to me and they're like, hey man, you can't say that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, totally.
And I'm like, well, why not? It's a great idea. And they're like, because that's not how the order process, you know what I mean? And then I get lectured. Katie tells me to stop talking to people.
I have been in your company. I'm just going to give you some shit right at the start of this podcast. I have heard you say in people's company before, I own the club. Why can't I do that?
Yeah. I mean, that's true.
I get it.
That's true.
Hey, yeah. I've been there before as a business owner. It's like, I want to be able to do things. It's like, great, you're the business owner. It still will backfire if you keep saying these things. Mm-hmm. Anyway, what else we have to say? Okay. So City Lights kit, when it's pre-order until when?
25th of February.
Okay.
Yep. And I don't know how many we're going to do. It might be 150, 200, and then that's it. It's over. So I hope people get it.
Limited.
I would say it's been selling well. And so we'll see. But in a week's time, it'll be history. And you're wearing the first one. So
the other thing that I have to say about this kit straight away is it's immediately one of the 3 best kits that have been made by USL Spokane. I would go through the exercise of ranking them, but we have way too much to do today. You know that I'm a big fan of the water background Zephyr shirt, the blue one.
Yep.
That shirt is incredible.
Yep.
What's my second favorite? My second favorite, it'd be 1 or 1A with the shirt that I'm wearing, the lilac shirt.
Yep.
I've told you this many times. I worry that I'm going to look like a corpse, or best case scenario, a cadaver if I wear that shirt, because it's like a pastel-y lilac color, and I am a very fair-skinned dude, and I just worry that I'll look terrible. But I'm going to make sure that that's true, because I really, really like that shirt. Light blades in the background. These are ideas that I have loved for almost 5 years, and I even wanted, as I've told you in the past, to possibly as one of the names for the club. This is back in 2021, 2022, the light blades.
Yep.
It felt a little on the nose. Like, what if the pavilion gets rid of the the LED someday, and we have to be embarrassed as a city to say, well, you see, we had this thing and it went away. That would be embarrassing. But also, most people, the other reason was hockey. The moment you say blades,
you think of ice.
You think of ice. Yeah. Can I do a couple little miniature shout outs before we get to all the burning topics?
It's your show.
Okay, here we go. Shout out a couple player signings. I didn't get a chance to talk about this because it happened after we recorded, me and Mike. I had the Mike and Mike duo.
Yep.
Simon Fitch for Velocity FC, one of the best right backs in the League One history, I'd say, and certainly one of the best in recent history. Coming over from Richmond Kickers. He's from Richmond.
Yep.
Can't wait to see what Simon has to offer. So we have 2, I would say, now of the best right backs in the league. They can't both play at the same time, so I'm very curious to see how Lee is going to manage that situation. Shout out Cece. Is it Cece?
Yep.
Cece Villa or Villa?
Yep. Villa.
Does she go by Villa?
Yeah.
Oh, sick. So it's the Spanish pronunciation?
I just met her for the first time yesterday. I mean, I signed her contract, but I was at training yesterday and I finally met her in person. She's a really nice kid. Yeah.
Going by the reception of anything that has happened on the Nebraska Cornhusker soccer page, because she went to Nebraska, and anywhere else there's anything ever posted about CC, overwhelming approval rating for this kid.
Yeah, so
people love her.
Yeah, I saw her announcement on Instagram yesterday. I didn't know it was happening yesterday, so I kind of got it in real time.
Yeah.
And there was already like 50 comments like 30 minutes after it got posted. And I'm like,
yeah,
whoa. I'm like, that's wild.
You have signed a dynamic superstar personality as well as a soccer player. And by all accounts, she's a great soccer player too.
Yep.
Shout out. Here we go. Little ASMR. Shout out Bubbler. I brought up this wonderful product in a podcast with Mike last year.
Yeah.
I can't even remember which episode it was. I'm a big fan. Cece is endorsed by Bubbler.
Really?
She's a bubbler athlete. And when I saw that, I was like,
you got to get her on the show.
I've got to drink my bubbler. Here we go.
Good.
Bubbler so tasty. You get them at Target, I think.
Wow.
It's an energy drink that only has like 70 milligrams of caffeine in it. So it's like manageable, but it still gets me going.
Okay.
As you can probably tell, even the way this is going so far. I don't need more caffeine, folks.
I'm not sure you need an energy drink.
You know what? I don't, but we're going to have one today. In honor, I'm going to blame this on CC. So shout out CC. Welcome to Zephyr FC. Welcome to Spokane. All right. I want to do a little bit of a retrospective, a little bit of a table setter. It's been 4 years since you and your wife, Katie, entered the picture, became the face and the managing investors for USL Spokane. And both professional teams. It's been almost 2 years since Velocity FC hosted Richmond Kickers at our beloved One Stadium in our first ever game. Do you remember the goals in that?
Yeah, Ahmed and Rahman, right?
Oh, shout out for getting the Ahmed goal.
I mean, wasn't it?
Oh yeah, back post on a corner header. Yep,
and
totally.
And Rahman's cross, not cross.
Cross, not cross.
But after Ginger's goal last week, I think we all know, and they mentioned it on the broadcast.
It was did they?
They mentioned it was very a la, somebody did, or maybe that was in my living room. I don't know.
I think that might have been, that might have been one of our local people, but yeah.
But I will say this.
It was exactly like
I will say this. Goal. I don't know if I'm allowed to give a shout out, but I'm not a big fan of some of the commentating that we get in our broadcast.
Not the best always. No,
I'm trying to keep that off of like one of your sound bites. But what I was so proud of was Ginger at halftime.
Yeah,
they asked her if I knew the guy would ask her if it was a cross or a shot, and I was so proud of her for saying, you know what, I just Bubba got the ball down the side, and I knew I had to get the ball to the far post.
Totally.
And guess what? like mic drop. That's what else does she need to say? She put the ball right where she wanted to. So Katie and I both were like,
perfect answer.
We were like, yes, good answer.
Exactly.
So smart. So.
The answer is it went into the back of the net.
Yeah.
Move on. Yeah. Right. So sick. Yeah. We made a championship final in year 1. We won 2 thrilling playoff games to get there. Zephyr FC were 1 goal away from making the playoffs and completing a dramatic comeback in the second half of their first year in the Super League. 2025 was challenging. Okay, we're going to get into all these topics, but it culminated with a return to the championship final for Velocity FC and the most thrilling experience of my life. Watching live sports, certainly. Yep. I may end up getting rid of any kind of caveat and just saying any sports experience that I've had, period. That's how special Nil Vignal's 120-48. If you know, you know. If you don't, Google it. I know that 2024 was challenging too, but can you tell me a little bit about the differences between year 1 and year 2 as a way of like teeing up year 3?
Yeah. I mean, look, year 1 was special. It had its own challenges. I've never done this before. I mean, everything about year 1 was new to all of us and to our staff. We had a lot of people from outside the sports industry working in our front office. I mean, we had some who had experience, some who didn't. Everything about it was new. And by the time I was out in Madison for the semifinal that year, Katie and I went out there and our sporting director was there. And, I mean, it was just one of those like kind of out of body sports experiences to win like that, to go to the finals in a shootout with the rain falling. And we were in like hostile territory, to say the least. That was incredible.
Brees Stevens Field.
Yeah, it was wild. So that was great. And that set up for 25 and we made some roster changes, and that was interesting because we had never gone from year 1 to year 2 before. So I think it was interesting for us to watch fans react to some of the players that we moved on from, and then some of the players that we brought in. And as somebody who's behind the scenes on that, not making decisions about players, by the way, we don't get involved with recruiting. Yeah. We have
at all. You and I've talked a little bit about this in the past, and I'm always kind of like, did you know about how great that player was?
Well, I don't know if Ozzy watches your podcast, but every now and then he sends players our way.
Okay.
And he is the only membership group, a member of the ownership group, who really has the ability to say, hey, would you take a look at this player? And
it would be asinine to not ask Ozzy. Do you have experience of this player?
Yeah,
of course.
So anyway, the retooling of the roster year over year was, we made some great changes, and we wished all the guys well who left. They'll always be part of our club. We really do believe that. But we brought in a really experienced, great group of guys. And the season wasn't perfect, certainly. And we had some bumps along the way, which were some were out of our control. Yeah. Some were absolute utter disasters, as we all know. But, everybody always says this, but, we learned a lot from all of those situations, by the way, right? As a super young club, we take away things from there and we do better the following year. And so anyway, but like you said, 25 with Velocity was just the end of that season. Our entire goal was to be hosting playoff matches. And there was a chance, as near the end of that season where we could have potentially hosted, if Naples had won, we would have hosted the finals, right? There was a scenario which went away, but I think on a Saturday, but we still had a shot at hosting the championship game. But those 2 games in the stadium for Velocity were like certainly 2 of the greatest live sporting events I have ever been part of. I was standing behind the goal, dude, for the PKs.
Back-to-back PK shootout wins at home. Yeah, is so special. Yeah. The equalizer from nil.
The whole thing was surreal. Totally.
So obviously those mistakes sucked. The ones that led to like you were describing, some of the things that happened in 2025 that were super unfortunate. But obviously, by the same token, you have to be doing something right to get to the final 2 years in a row.
Yeah.
And I think that we're going to get to the topic because I want to talk a little bit about the model for USL Spokane for either club. And I know there's going to be distinctions between the two. It's a question I want to get into, but it's very clear that the intent, I think even going into year 3 for Velocity, is one where we expect to win. We want to be at the top of the table. We want to be hosting playoff games. We want to win the championship.
Yep.
Is that fair to assume?
There's no one more competitive than Katie and I.
Yeah.
And we know that we should never have expected to have that kind of success. And I'm not saying sustained success because there were huge valleys but at the end of the day, the way the league is set up and with 14 teams in it, everybody is still in the hunt and you can afford to make a few mistakes along the way.
Yeah.
And we got to where we needed to go. And we just, I think the guys, I've been now in 2 post-championship game locker rooms with some very upset people, including Lee, who takes his responsibility very seriously. He is a consummate professional, as most people know by now. And so, but we're proud of him. In year 3, we want to go back and win. And I hope that we can get there. I don't like talking about it. And Lee is very superstitious about even mentioning it. But, and now there's 18 teams in League One.
Yeah.
So we know it'll be a more difficult path this year. But we have personnel coming in to put us in a position to be competitive at a minimum. Our expectation is to be a playoff team. Now really for 26, we really need to be a hosting playoff team.
Yep.
And that's kind of now our expectation. And that's a lot to have, but
I went to the airport and greeted the players and they came home. I haven't typically done things like that. There's something about, I don't know what you would call it, a boundary or whatever, but I typically would want to stay away and just let them have their space. But I'm really glad I did. I thought it was extremely special, especially knowing that some of those players, David Garcia, I was dapping him up, giving him a hug and saying goodbye. And I kind of knew, I think we all did, that David might want to play in the championship. Yep. You mentioned working with your wife, Katie, a lot. You obviously work a lot of hours together with both Katie and until recently, your daughter Riley as well. What has that been like for the family?
Yeah. It's chaotic and we tried to, I might have mentioned this on the last pod that I was on, but the reality is when we sat down and talked with Gareth Smith, who is our sporting department head, when we talked about goals, for us, the 3 of us, because really Gareth and Katie and I, we're the team and who's kind of directing everything. And my goal was always to stay married through this process. Okay.
That's a win. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
So Katie and I are, we try to divide and conquer as much as we can because honestly, there's just too much to do.
Yep.
So we have to do that. And it's stressful as someone who's been married for 26 years, been with Katie for 28 years. It's hard to be married in the first place. Okay.
Totally.
Like you have to, this makes it very difficult. But we love each other. And so, we do it. So, and having, by the way, being able to work with Riley was a gift that we never had expected. Right. I never thought I would work with Riley because I didn't know I was going to do this until it happened. Yeah. And the fact that we got 2.5 years with her, Riley's still involved with the club in the Bay Area, but working on some foundation stuff for Spokane Impact. She is still engaged with us on that. But that was a gift of time that we may never get back, like be able to do again. We don't know. I hope so, though.
Yeah.
It was a blast. It was incredible watching her. What
do you think you've learned about each other or from each other during this time? And I know that could be a long list, but there's got to be a couple of things that stick out.
I think I've heard Riley, Riley does a great job of expressing her, it's always great when your kids admire you and get a chance to see you working. And that can be good and bad for them. My dad worked for my grandpa's painting company in LA when he was young. In high school and in college maybe, and he got fired like 3 times by his dad. And I always joked with Riley about that, but it's fun working with your kid. I know Riley saw a side of both Katie and I that she hadn't seen before. And we saw her graduate from Gonzaga on a Sunday and start work at USL Spokane on Tuesday.
Oh, wow.
So it was incredible.
I did not know that.
Yeah. And so it was a gift. It was a gift.
What would you say, like from a matter of kind of perspective, has changed the most about you since you started this 4 years ago, like on a personal level?
On a personal level or on a business understanding level, or?
I want to say personal level, because I feel like I can kind of imagine the myriad things that you'd learn on a business level. I can kind of fill in some blanks there, but I'm just very curious, like on a personal level, like what's it been like? There's always the photo that's become kind of a joke of Obama when he went in to his first presidency in 2008 and what he looked like in 2017.
Yeah. No, look, we don't take enough time. I don't. Katie and I don't. But I try to. I try to take time and appreciate what we did. Because I will say this is impossible. I mean, it's not normal. So I am proud of that. And we know we haven't done everything right.
Yeah.
And you know, our goal in year 2, which is really kind of last year, was to kind of fail faster and make decisions quicker. We spent a lot of time churning over decisions in 24 that we wish we had made quicker, faster. 25, every year has different kinds of challenges, but I'm proud of it. I mean, I'm proud of what we did. I don't know why I did this. This was not Katie's idea. So I think what I've learned personally is just how to grind, and you can't give up. And this applies to anybody doing anything.
Of course.
Podcast, whatever you're doing. If you want to do something meaningful to either yourself or the community or whatever, it's going to be really hard. And this is the hardest thing I've ever done.
Yeah.
And I haven't done it alone, of course, but it's been a big growth, Now I don't know why I thought I could do it, but and I don't know if it's done, but
yeah, totally.
Yeah. But it's been good.
I think October 30th, 2024, that episode of the podcast, I'd encourage people to go back and listen to that, because you tell a little bit of that story of like you came home one day and said, "Hey, what if we started a soccer team in Spokane?" Yeah. What are the different? I think when people from the outside looking in, they look at these respective clubs, one being in League One, which is technically the third tier of soccer in the soccer pyramid in the United States, and Zephyr FC, which is in Tier 1. Talk about the differences between owning these two different teams and between these two different leagues.
Yeah, it's first of all, we set out to do this for the women's team. That was never an afterthought. That was actually when I looked at this opportunity, the women's team that was contemplated, if people don't remember this, was a W League.
Yeah, it was going to be a W League team.
And I just was like, no, we're not going to do that first. Because Super League was really in its kind of an incubation period with the league. It was originally going to be Division 2.
Yep.
That was part of the deal. And so having two teams in one club that had not been done before at the same time, launched at the same time. So that was fairly difficult to do, but it's a lot of fun. I mean, I love both of the teams. They both present different challenges. The women's team at a higher division, the expectations are different. The players are different. Their paths are different. They're coming out of different environments than the men were. It's been a challenge. We've tried to do things really well in Spokane. What we're really proud of is that when the players are talking about the challenges across the league, no offense to any other owner in any other market, we feel like we've done things very well in Spokane, and we're often I believe kind of the benchmark for how things should be done. There's a couple other clubs at least that I feel are also doing things at a very high level, but we're really intentional about everything we do for the Zephyr team, and we're really proud of that. Velocity, you kind of have a different vibe with the guys because they come into the market with different, very varied experience, right? We've got former MLS players and national team players.
Totally.
And then you've got like a 22-year-old who this is on their inaugural, rookie contract kind of thing. So it feels different with Velocity. And I think as we get towards 2028 with ProRel, and we'll probably talk about that later,
we will.
I think that the complexion of Velocity's roster will change a little bit in the next 2 years as we look to build for a promotion that year.
One of the things I think you're kind of alluding to is that the Super League leans a little younger.
Yeah.
A little less professional experience for most of the players, even some of the players that have played in the NWSL for many years. That's still a young league.
Yeah.
And I think that the average age of each roster, I'd have to guess, is skews quite a bit younger in the Super League.
Yep. Yeah, and I think it's interesting because our team, we had about half of our team turnover year over year with Super League, and that's going to be the way it is as Super League continues to gain credibility with the players. We're going through a collective bargaining process right now with the players union and getting the first CBA defined. And that's a pretty important process, but better players are in Super League this year than were in the inaugural year. I think that's obvious.
Yeah.
Which is really exciting. And it'll continue to grow. It'll just grow a little bit more slowly because the cost of entry into this league, Super League, is quite high. And so I don't think you'll see it. It's not going to be like a League One. Like we're going to go up, a lot faster with the League One growth of teams than you are with Super League, because the Super League markets are generally bigger. They have a stadium issue to solve. It's more expensive. The franchises cost more. I mean, it just goes on and on and on. So
we'll circle back to that because I want to bring up the topic of exactly what you're describing, which is the growth of these leagues as well as the presence of teams in the West. But let's take a quick break. When we return, we're going to get to some questions from the community. The presenting sponsor of the Spokane Soccer Show for 2026 remains Flat Stick Pub. The best pub experience in Spokane, if you ask me, and if you ask many other people who know what they're talking about. Mini golf, duffel board, darts, drinks, brick oven baked pizzas, Bavarian pretzels. I'm going to team up with my friend Mike from Bearded Trivia this year. He doesn't even know this. Sorry, Mike, when you listen to this podcast, I want to do a couple things. I did my first ever Bearded Trivia, got third place. I still need to find a way to make good on the offer that was, I get to pick a topic. I think Mike said if I attend the next trivia night, and this was on New Year's Day. Come on, Mike.
Right.
Anyway, can't wait to do some stuff with Mike. Watch parties for Zephyr FC, Velocity FC, and World Cup watch parties. I'm also going to work with Jeremy from Sounder at Heart and Ari and Noah from Lobbing Scorchers to do something special for the Sounders game, which will be at One Stadium. Yes, we will talk more about that One Stadium hosting a Sounders CONCACAF Champions League game, but more on that later in the podcast. Welcome back, Spokane City Credit Union. Stay tuned for news about the Greater Spokane Parks Challenge. That will kick off in April. I will also be teaming up once again to promote the Steps for Autism event, which is in collaboration with the wonderful Northwest Autism Center. Welcome aboard, Inland Imaging, and our pal, Dr. Brian Peterson. I think I've brought up Brian on the podcast before. He's a friend. I've worked with Inland Imaging before. I care deeply about the topic of cancer screening and cancer prevention, and I've done some work with them on a creative level in the past. But Brian and I are going to do a couple podcasts together, I think.
I can't wait.
I know, it should be a lot of fun.
I love Brian Peterson. Also a member of our ownership group.
Also a member of the ownership group. We'll bring that up a little bit.
And a proud partner. Inland Imaging is a proud partner.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally. We're keeping it in the family. I love Inland Imaging. It's one of my favorite organizations that I've worked with locally. Just the most competent and caring group of people. So there will be a couple things that we dedicate special for Inland Imaging, roping in Dr. Brian. He's a talker too.
Yeah, I love it.
He might not admit that, but he likes to shoot the shit about soccer, especially.
Yeah.
And welcome back, Wildland Co-op. My brother-in-law, Michael, and I will be working on another signature beer. I think this time around, we're thinking that we're going to do something World Cup themed. And I just want to give a special shout out to my friend Ross Carper of Feast World Kitchen. I will always find a way to plug Feast World Kitchen. Doesn't matter how long the Spokane Soccer Show exists, I will always shout out Feast World Kitchen, the very first sponsor for the show. I'll never forget the day I was at Spokane Gymnastics before my daughter Ivy switched gymnastics gyms. And they have this little walking track in there, which I miss that. Mm-hmm. Anyway, and I got a call from Ross, and he was listening to the podcast, and he asked if I had sponsors, and I was like,
there's no better.
I never even thought of that.
Right.
I was thinking it would be listener support. So I'm so glad perfect segue, Benji. Oh, and hey, listeners, if you would like to support the Spokane Soccer Show, I would like to take off some of the pressure on my sponsors. So please consider going to SpokaneSoccerShow.com. There's a place right on the homepage where you can contribute to supporting the effort. My co-host, Mike, and I would appreciate you. Thank you. All right, Ryan, you brought up the topic, so we're going to go there. I don't have the time to educate people about the ins and outs of what promotion and relegation means. Just Google it. I'm going to just do this topic to talk about what it means in USL specifically. This is on the men's side of professional soccer. Let's start here. In case you missed it, we are adding 5 teams to USL League One for 2026. Do I have my math right? You're looking at me like I'm crazy. It's 5, right?
I think we're going from 14 to 18.
Oh, it's 4.
Yeah.
Wait, who's not doing this? Athletic Club, aka AC Boise. Corpus Christi FC and our friend Eamon Zayed. Shout out Eamon.
Yep.
I think he listens. Fort Wayne FC, they coming? Okay. New York Cosmos, they're coming.
Yep.
Sarasota Paradise is not? That would be 5.
Why is our math wrong?
I don't know. Did I count wrong? AC Boise, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. How many did we have last year?
I guess we had 14. I guess let's just put a pin in it. All right.
No. All right, fine. This is all according to Wikipedia.
Don't believe everything you read on
No
Wikipedia.
shit. Totally. All right, fine. Can you give me the particulars? Do you have any updates? How this whole thing's going to look? Anything that you're willing to provide?
Yeah.
And if you say anything you shouldn't, we can edit it out later. Promotion and relegation. Talk to us a little bit.
Yeah, look, I mean, this is all about games of consequence. As you pointed out, people can go read all about ProRel. Nobody can do this in the United States except for USL. It's just not possible. And it's really only possible because the league is adding a Division I league called USL Premier. By the way, all this is public information. I'm not telling you anything secret right now. And the league has come out and talked a little bit more recently in a couple of interviews about what they think the structure might look like long term, which is 20 teams in Premier. It should launch with 12 or 14 teams. In 2028, which has got no teams in it now. So as you can imagine, that's quite an ambitious jump. And that's a lot of teams.
Yeah.
The Pro League standards require them to launch with 12, I believe.
Okay.
So they will likely go beyond that, I think. And
for a couple minutes, since you said 12 or 14, if I'm understanding correctly, it's the championship level teams that will go up to the Premier League. They will only promote. They won't relegate for a couple years. Is that correct?
No.
I
mean, look, it's Jeopardy, man. Why? No, absolutely not. So there likely will be a handful of the highest performing championship league clubs that have stadiums that are outstanding. There's a likelihood that they'll move up for that year.
Yeah.
But are you insinuating that there would be some type of guarantee of no relegation?
Yeah, I thought for a year they were talking about doing promotion only.
I'll say that I don't know the answer to that
because there's only 12 to 14 up top, and they're trying to eventually. It's so obvious they're eventually trying to mirror what's happening in England. Yeah. Premier League, Championship, League One, same name, same everything. 20 teams. Except I think the Championship in England has more than 20 teams. I think it's 24.
So. But look, the United States is a big country.
Yeah.
So yeah, let's just call it 20 in Premier.
Sure.
Is the ultimate goal.
Got it.
20 in Championship League.
Okay.
And Championship League may, in 2028, Championship League may have 20 in it or maybe have 18. It's hard to, I don't know. We don't know that yet.
Sure.
And then I think it's been made public that League One will really become a divisional league with likely with an East-West.
Sure.
And
some type of regional setup. Yeah.
And I think the reality is it's going to likely be starting, at least starting off. I think that there's a thought that 28, 29, the first 2 years might have some nuance to it with ProRel.
Okay.
With movement.
Yep.
But it will be likely end up being 3 up, 3 down between League One and Championship.
Okay.
And until the size of Premier gets large enough, maybe it'll end up being 2 up, 2 down from Championship to Premier. Does that make sense?
Yep.
So I don't know, because to be honest, all of this is still being worked through. We have not voted on it yet. The competition format, we will be voting on it likely later this summer. Post World Cup. I think there's going to be a lot more things, information coming out late summer, early fall from the league and from the owners. And
similar to England, there will be some type of playoff format where maybe 2 of the teams go through automatically, and then there's maybe a playoff of some variety to be determined. But
yeah,
everything's on the table though currently.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think, look, this is so complex. Yeah. And as a matter of fact, the easiest part is figuring out, okay, who's going up and how the divisions work, whatever. That's actually in hindsight, I think in hindsight, that's going to be one of the easier things to have figured out. But we're all trying to figure out what's the most fair way to do it.
Yeah.
Sporting integrity is a big part of ProRel. The league is doing all of this work, and we are being, briefed on it regularly and giving input. There's just a lot of work happening on it. So it's exciting.
As a differentiator, I can't come up with a better thing that the league could do. I think the timing was really smart. And Riley wants to ask, what steps is the club taking to prepare for He said securing relegation. I had to give him shit. I'm like, I don't think they want to get relegated, and they can't technically. But what is the attitude and mentality going to be going into the first year where it's possible that we get promoted?
Hey, look, we want to be the first team to promote. Okay, that's goal number one. Roster management and that process. We're paying a lot of attention right now to who we're signing, how we're thinking about the length of contracts. I mean, it's going to be really interesting in 27 how we retool our roster, because likely in 27 we're really going to be looking at some longer term contracts. I mean, most contracts, I will say in League One, most contracts are a 1+1.
Yeah.
Okay, with the club having the option for the second year. That's not always the case. We have a lot of players on both our teams that are on multi-year contracts. But the league's evolving all the time. And so you try and keep them. As a club, you got to have some flexibility in this. But also as a club that's in the player transfer business, we also try to find talent and get a little bit of a long-term contract so that we've got some leverage and we're able to explore player sales later on. I mean, totally. It's part of every pro team's business. And so, but as we get ready to prepare for 28, I think you see we're always intentional with our signings. You know this. I mean, but we'll get even more intentional as we get towards, okay, what does 28 look like? We probably, my guess would be that we're going to want to have 14 to 16 returning players between 27 and 28, just to have a team that's just ready to go.
Yeah.
We don't need 15 new guys coming in January for preseason in 28 and not knowing what we're doing. We need a group that's been together for a bit. So maybe we look at 27 as a year to get things kind of, set the table. You know what I mean?
I do. And I think if you look at the way the club retooled in preparation for 2025, whether it was me, who's new to following USL soccer, so admittedly, I'm a quick learner, but I still have a long way to go when I think of people like John Morrissey, who came on the podcast. And even John was like, oh, it's clear that Velocity, by the signings made, they're making a run at winning the Player Shield and getting back to the championship final. Yeah. So that was obvious to people that were from the outside looking in 2025. If that continues, then obviously you're looking to, if there were a promotion available, then you'd be looking at the top two positions in the league. Yeah.
And I also want to just say this, and we don't talk about this often because we don't really go there, but the roster changes that we made year over year between 24 and 25 didn't cost us any more money. Okay.
Yeah.
A lot of people, I was laughing because I'd run into like owners at games and at meetings. A lot of people thought we spent all sorts of money.
This is a common perception.
Yeah. It's hilarious to me. I actually believe we spent a little bit less than we did in 24.
Okay.
I think we just got smarter.
Yeah.
Okay. And then the other piece of it is, and this is a big shout out to Spokane.
Yeah.
People want to play here, guys. People want to come here and play. And I talked about it at the, after our first season, I talked about it at the season ticket membership event.
I remember.
And the players were all standing there right in front of me. Mm-hmm. And I told them all, I said, people want your jobs because they want to play in our stadium in front of our fans. And so it's not, we try to offer a place to be that is got a great fan base. They're treated right. They're paid well. Our players are taken care of in a lot of different ways. But we're really proud of the fact that we can get people like Simon, who's from Virginia and came to Spokane.
From Richmond. Yeah.
From Richmond because he wanted to be part of our culture.
Yeah.
And so it's,
I love you, Neil Vigneault, for whatever pitch you made.
Yeah. Right. So anyway, I will just say it's
found one more reason to love you, Neil.
Yeah.
Ben wants to know, do you have any plans, or does the club have any plans specifically to make the Boise Spokane rivalry, the derby, more of a thing, or just let it spring up organically?
I don't know. I mean, look, their owner, Brad Stith, and I've gotten to know him a little bit, and I don't know if he listens to your pod, but I want to beat him really bad.
Good. And I want to say, help us get tickets, because so far I've heard that's been a little bit of a challenge to figure out how to get tickets to that first game.
I mean, I think we have a player allocation that we're granted, and I think maybe we're trying to work a few extra tickets from Boise.
Yeah,
they have like 6,000 people on a wait list.
I know. I thought about that the other day when this came up on Discord. I was just like, I get it, how challenging it would be if it were us in our first year as a club and Boise wanted a bunch of away. We'd be like, no. Those are for us.
No, I think Boise, look, they want to take care of their fans first.
Of course.
And then if they'll probably let a few of ours in.
Yeah.
I'm just lucky I get to go. I have a pass that gets me into any stadium in the league. So
yeah, which you offered to me the other day. Do you remember that?
No,
yeah.
I don't.
Oh, okay. Whoops. I might have imagined.
Okay.
All right. Here comes a hard question. Hard question as far as it's not an easy topic. If anybody could solve it, we'd all be, not doing what we do for a living. This is from Emmy. She says, over the last 20 years, there has been a hard push by MLS to capitalize on the excitement of the World Cup when it comes around. Does the USL have any plans to raise their brand in the same way? How is the USL, and kind of connected to that, how is USL Spokane going to use the fan zone to grow interest in the game locally? And I'm saying these are the hard questions because this is all going to be about attendance and how we know that there was a significant dip in attendance for year 2 of both teams. And so it's what all of us, the role we have to play. But let's start with what Emmy's asking about, which is capitalizing on the intense fandom that will surround and all the pageantry of the World Cup stuff. And the fact that we have a designated fan zone in the city of Spokane. Yeah,
look, Katie's on the committee. It's a city driven, the fan zone piece is driven by an organization that we're not in charge of. We're certainly pitching in and part of it. And there's things that we'll be doing to participate in that we'll be announcing soon.
Okay.
I hope that Spokane takes advantage of that and all the events that go along with it. I know there's a bunch of things planned. They're going to be really fun.
Who is the organization?
Oh, it's the mayor's office and Spokane Sports.
Park Foundation and
okay. There's a whole group that's kind of been spearheading that. And then, I think there's going to be, hopefully a lot of buzz around soccer with our hosting of the Sounders events and the rain events here, coupled with Zephyr and Velocity. I mean, Spokane, and this is a nice segue into our attendance. Spokane is going to be flooded with soccer this summer. Mm-hmm. And if for people who don't love soccer, it might really irritate them. I don't know. but there is going to be a lot of opportunity to see some really high level games in our region and right here at One Spokane Stadium. And so, we're involved in a bunch of things. So we'll be, I can't really dip into it too much because we'll be making some announcements around some other stuff that we're involved with. And I want to save those announcements for later.
Of course, but we can expect some involvement between USL Spokane and the fan zone stuff. And
and getting back to the first part of the question, I mean, the league is going to be doing their thing. I mean, people probably already understand this. The league does their own marketing, and these clubs are built locally. They're managed locally. Everything is hyper local. The league is certainly working on a lot of things right now, and there's going to be a lot of, I think, big announcements coming this summer with the launch of Premier and announcing who some inaugural teams are. And so I don't know what their plan is for marketing, and sometimes it's a little challenging for me to foresee if they'll be doing that in the way that I think they should be doing it. But I hope they take advantage of it. I think they will.
Yeah. Nicole, still on the topic of attendance, right? I really would like to know what kind of community engagement steps will be taken to grow the fan base. I think it's obvious that results on the pitch, in the men's case, do not necessarily result in an increase in attendance. So how do we turn that trend around? This is the real hard $1 million question.
Yeah, look, I mean,
multi-million-dollar question. Yeah.
Yeah. Here's the thing with launching two teams in one club in 1 year. I mean, we put a lot of soccer into Spokane. There was a dip in attendance, not just in Spokane, by the way, but really system wide. I think there's some other global factors that are contributing to some attendance issues, but also I think that our season ticket membership has declined year over year because of the congestion in people's calendars. So what we are going to attempt to do this year, we've got to we already have the soccer fans. They will come and watch our games when they can. It's our job to go find families that want a great entertainment experience, to be outdoors, to be with their friends and come to the stadium and experience this. I just don't think, I think maybe we need to just really pivot to, hey, this is a great event. This is not just about soccer. I don't really think we need to keep going. We love the support of the club teams. We work with them all the time. We work with SYSA. The kids come in, they're ball boys and ball girls and everything else. That's great. I just think we need to go find the others.
Right.
the people who
are curious.
Yeah.
Either have dipped their toes. Maybe it wasn't exactly what they expected, but they would come back, or people who haven't gone yet at all. I have a feeling there's quite a few of those. I still talk to people who I know that are my friends, that know about what I'm doing with the podcast, and they even like soccer. And I'm like, you haven't been to a game?
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's our job this year, is to really find the new fan. And we've got to put some money behind it and some marketing behind it. And last year, as we talked offline earlier this week, it's like we had to spend resources in 25 really getting the technical side of the club kind of staffed up again.
Sure.
With some turnover in the leadership there. And that can happen, but we invested on the technical side a bit more in 25, and I think 26. Our focus is shifting to, finding those fans, getting people to the stadium for a new experience, and hoping that they come back. And so we've been finding that from a ticketing standpoint, people are more likely to buy a 10-pack now, a flex pack, where they can pick their 10 games.
Oh yeah,
instead of buying an 18 game package.
Yeah,
and the click rate, where season ticket membership attendance rates run around 70-75%. So people just were busy.
I have said this many times. We all have a role to play. I want personally to do more about getting people to go to games. I've done a lot about describing what I see when I go to the games.
Yeah.
I sometimes wonder, am I providing all the kind of vicarious experience that people need of like, oh, he just describes the game and I didn't feel like I needed to go to that one.
Yeah.
I know that sounds ridiculous, but as a person who does that with NBA basketball, I don't watch that many NBA games until the playoffs.
Right.
But I listen to podcasts throughout the season.
Right.
I don't want the Spokane Soccer Show to become that for anybody.
Yeah.
Go to the damn game. So I will continue to beat my drum about that.
Yeah.
There's two things that I feel like you and I have talked a little bit about offline. One of these things we've talked about a little bit that is you're probably not going to want to say much about, but as far as things that I feel like are missing pieces that have started to be addressed, but I still think there's a lot of opportunity. One is the word that comes to mind is Spokane and Spokane's identity. These two shirts that have come out recently, both to me are great first steps toward content, messaging, narrative material that makes people see in the soccer teams, the two professional teams, the city.
Yep.
And so I think the kits are a great start to see textures or elements of our city reflected in the shirts that are being worn by these players.
Yep.
And just the stories about things that are happening in Spokane and how the events on the pitch can reflect a little bit about that and vice versa.
Yeah.
One thing I've been really proud of and have been grateful for is how much the players participate in things that are happening in Spokane.
Yep.
Even, of course, including the Inspire League and the work of Nil and Mike and Zhao and so forth, right? All that stuff is awesome. So there's some steps that have been made, but I still feel like and I know that I could have an opportunity. There's an opportunity for me to play a role there about how a connection between activities, narrative, stories, anecdotes, whatever, and that will help build this kind of identity. It's a topic that came up a lot in the conversation with Lee and Gareth back in December of 2023. Feels like a million years ago. And I still feel like there's progress that there's opportunity still there.
Yeah. I think what's hard is like, and I'm in it at such a microscopic level. It's really hard. So, but I also have a perspective on it that this is a long-term project, but we're in like year 2.5.
Yeah, true.
And so you and I both know what it can be, right? Because we follow an international league in different countries, and we know what it can be in a community. This is not, Spokane is not Wrexham, okay? We don't have a 150-year-old club that people just breathe in and out every day for that club. But we're a baby, you know what I mean? And so the kit, the integration with landmarks, Katie and I want this club to transition away from us, and we don't want to be the face of this club, okay? We want Spokane to be the face of this club, and that takes time. So the kits will get, I think, more woven into the fabric of what's going on around town through either something that reflects the podium, which is just this beautiful thing at night with the lighting and everything, and to a lot of other things. But I
love that there's been people who didn't even know what the pavilion was. Yeah. And when they asked about why is that shirt's really cool, but why? Right. And when they saw the pavilion, people were like, oh shit.
Right.
A, I want the kit immediately. Right. That rocks. And B, I want to go to Spokane and see it.
Right.
The thing about the pavilion is really sick is that it presents well.
It's amazing, obviously, especially at night.
Yeah.
So yeah, you get, look, we're so young. That's my message.
We are. I just have to push back a bit to say Portland Hearts of Pine was brand new. Yeah. And they nailed it. I know we all know, and it's actually super annoying if you've listened to the podcast. I'm annoyed by it, but I'm also really grateful because their success leads to success for the league. Yeah. And I think they've shown a lot of people about, yes, there's been some resource put into it and so forth, but also it's just kind of they really did the work of going out and reflecting stories of people in their community and their love for and that's there.
Yeah.
So I think there's something they're providing to people that.
Yeah. It's Portland Hearts of Pine killed it this year. They're going to keep killing it. Yeah. They have an incredible fan base that is really all in on that soccer club because first of all, it's what's there. And Gabe and others, they've done an amazing job. They are the only thing they don't have is their own stadium.
Yeah.
But they have everything else dialed in. Yeah. And I was jealous, of them all year.
Yeah.
I'm like,
everyone was.
And I remember our inaugural year, there's a real honeymoon period at the beginning, but they're just like they're the bar.
Yeah.
And if they had a stadium without lines on the field, that would be even better. If they had their own stadium, I think the thing would be like, that is the model. That's the model for how you launch a club.
There's a kind of synergistic storytelling. There's something about how the community is woven into the messaging and so forth that I do feel like you might not get their exact results, but they have provided a reminder to everybody is don't ignore the community. I'm not saying that that's what's happening in Spokane. There's certain markets that I won't name where I'm like, you are completely ignoring your market. Mm-hmm. And it looks like it's just been manufactured by, I would almost go so far as to say, and yes, some of the conversation around some of these newer clubs, it's like, are they using AI? What are you doing?
Right.
There's that's like the polar opposite of what Portland did.
Yeah.
So I feel like there's just, again, there's just kind of a model there, but
yeah, I always wonder, like, look, we're in year 3 with Velocity. And I wonder what would we be doing if we didn't have 2 teams? Like we are spread thin.
Yeah.
And you know this. I mean,
it's so true. Dude, I'm so glad you're bringing this up. It's so true. I forget it all the time. I just forgot it in real time.
Yeah.
The challenge was manifold because of the fact that there were 2 teams coming in the same year. Yeah. I remember the summer of 2024 going, oh my God. And my friend Abby, who, by the way, Abby Carcio, shout out Abby. Did you see she just got the Vermont green?
I did. I saw that.
Dude.
I saw that.
From legend Sammy Muse. I'm like, holy shit. Anyway. And talking to Abby about, there's 25 players we need to talk about.
Yeah.
I just did this.
Yeah.
Anyway. Yeah.
No, but I think the point is, I think, as an organization that utilizes just a tremendous amount of resources that it takes to keep this thing going. Okay.
Yeah.
And I've said this before. I said this 2 years ago or 18 months ago. It's like, we lose a lot of money, Benji.
Yeah.
And I'm not afraid to say that on a podcast.
We're going to talk about it. It's on my list of things to talk about.
So can we hire 30 more people and pour $1 million or $2 million into marketing and yeah, we could. I mean, it's just quite an investment.
Yeah.
And we already are constantly making quite a large investment into the community. So, and by the way, I'm going to reiterate, we're not going to get everything right away. This is a long-term project. We want it to be sustainable. And that's our number one goal right now is to make it sustainable. So we do need the community to come.
Yeah.
We need people to buy tickets and buy merch and no one's, those dollars aren't ending up in Ryan's pocket. Those are just trying to stem tremendous losses. And that's okay. We knew that this was going to take a while. So
the other idea I brought up to you recently, one of these, it's my idea to give or take, just whatever.
Yeah.
If you're not into it, it's fine. And I think I got you a little bit interested. We'll see. And I kind of want to put it out there for the listeners to just be like, let me know. Let Ryan know. Is this a good idea? I know you're not going to rebrand. However, if there were a third shirt or a shirt that unified the city, kind of like the example I gave was Golden State had their thing. What was it called? God, I just forgot what it was called.
The Town?
The Town. Thank you. The Town. Or the Phoenix Suns were the Valley. The Valley. If USL Spokane's 2 professional soccer teams unified under a third shirt that's shared in some way, Lilac City, just saying, I think that shirt is really good. It could get better too over time and just be iterated upon. The color's sick. There's a unique opportunity there. It reminds me a little bit of Valencia's club in La Liga. Anyway, that's just an idea that I want. The enthusiasm for that shirt, for Lilac City, I just think it's never gone away. Mm-hmm. I think there's something about that. No, it's not a rebrand, but it could just be something that could maybe just during Bloomsday week or May or something when the lilacs are blooming. But
I'm not allowed, as we talked about 35 minutes ago, I'm not allowed to authorize anything because someone else has to go do all the work.
Just throwing it out there.
Yeah. You will be heard by somebody. Someone who listens to this podcast will be in a position to say, that's a really damn good idea.
Yeah.
And I will say, great.
Cool. Okay.
Yeah. I'm with you.
Last piece that I know, this is just all back to the topic. This is maybe the main topic I wanted to talk to you about anyways, if I'm being honest. I mentioned this to you at the end of Velocity FC's campaign. I was like, we'll have a job to do. I don't feel like I did as good a job as I could have. And what I do with this podcast of getting people to show up to games. Okay. One of them is, and this is back to a different version of identity, which is the identity of what we see between the lines on the pitch. And it's score goals. And if you're not scoring goals, try to score goals.
Right.
People like to see expressive, especially in the United States. I just do not think any version of batten down the hatches and, get stuck in, to use an English phrase to describe a kind of a defensive mindset. I just don't think it gets people excited.
Yeah.
Just being honest, I've witnessed this enough times where I've been like, that was a masterclass and we win a game 1-0 or we eke out a 0-0 draw against a tough opponent or something. People are like, that was boring. And I'm like, what? That game was sick. Do you see those tackles? And they're like,
right.
I don't care. There were no goals.
Look,
When Nicole Lukic came on my podcast to wrap a bow on this, and her mentality and the way she talked about, I just want to score goals. I want to put numbers in the box, and I'm seeing it. It hasn't been met with exactly. It's a early project as far as the goal scoring returns and stuff. And we lost our star striker or whatever to an injury, but I was like, yes. Afterwards, after talking to Mike, I was like, loved what Nicole was saying about how she wants to play. So that's just a thought. Is I don't even know. I know you won't even say anything, and you can't say anything, but I think anyone out there who cares and listens, playing, attacking front foot soccer, I feel like is another way to make sure that people come back to games.
Yeah.
They want to see goals.
Yeah.
They're also hard to come by is another thing. I just always have to do a little tiny disclaimer on that and say, if there were more finishing, these players would not be in League One necessarily,
Yeah, I think it's interesting because I don't even know what the stat is on where we landed last year with goals scored out of all the League One teams, but we were in the championship game, Benji.
People do like that. Don't get me wrong.
So the journey might not be
a little rocky,
quite your style, but we did get to the championship game. So I don't really comment on,
all right.
That's a Lee play style, Gareth Lee conversation. And I'm sure they'll listen to your podcast.
It's a I don't know what they do. It's a midweek, 7:00 at one stadium kind of a thing of, if you want to get attendance, that is. And if people kind of go, wow, I go to these games and they if they don't score goals, they're trying like hell to score goals.
Well, let me help you out just so I can give you
we underperformed XG quite dramatically last year. So we were a little probably unfortunate on some of it.
Well, I just wanted to go on the record in case Lee's watching that I also want more goals scored. That's all.
Don't get it twisted.
I don't mind paying those bonuses to players. Let's just put it that way.
Okay. All right. Let's talk about this in the relationship to. We're going to shift gears just ever so slightly, but still kind of around the same topic, right? I think as far as an experience goes, One stadium is magnificent. I miss it so much. I can't wait. Can be back there soon. It doesn't have bad views, which is awesome, but also a challenge from a ticketing perspective. You and I talked about this. Let's start with just any future updates that we could expect to the stadium or any timeline for that kind of thing. I think I know the answer to this, but it got everybody a little excited when they saw Boise had a covered stand. And I definitely was like, a covered stand would be pretty sick. We don't really have that much precipitation, being honest, but when we do, I don't know.
As soon as we say that, it'll start raining, but yeah.
Raining, or it could even help with sun. Yeah. So,
I mean, I don't.
Has there ever been a plan to cover that stand?
No, like it'd be wildly expensive.
Oh, would it? Okay.
Oh God. Yeah. by the way, as everybody knows, we don't own the stadium.
Yeah. Right.
Spokane PFD now owns the stadium. And
I was surprised that Boise did it, frankly.
Yeah. I don't know kind of the whole story behind there. I don't know. Maybe it's, I don't know. I don't actually, the way that their stadium is situated, I don't know if it's a shade thing. It can be dreadfully hot in Boise sometimes in the summer.
True.
So anyway, I don't know what the deal is, but there's some things that were contemplated around the stadium. Like we have the ability to put loge seating in the concourse level. Okay. Right above the lower section. Okay. And we haven't done that. We have the ability to do it and sell like little suites along that concourse area.
Wait, which concourse? Where?
The West concourse where everybody stands.
Oh.
And I personally, I personally don't, I mean, I'm not wanting to do that anymore because I like that everybody congregates there and watches while they're drinking their beer and they see their friends. And that's such a great place to gather.
Yeah.
And so there are some things that were contemplated that are probably no longer contemplated, but as far as like, some of this, but you're right. There's no bad seed in there. And I just need, people to show up and go explore the stadium and go, sit in different places, see what you want to do. And just come out and enjoy a game. But you're right. There is no bad seat. I stand the whole game. I never sit down.
Same.
I've never sat in my seats.
Last year I started to. Mike and I, and sometimes our friend Jesse, we would go sit up in section 206 or 205 and up high to get that kind of bird's eye, almost like a coach's view. I really like that too. Yeah. But again, there's no such thing as a bad seat. So from a strategies perspective, when it comes to ticket pricing, east side bleachers versus west side, et cetera, it feels kind of like anybody who has a ticket for admission can kind of go where they want is the way it feels.
Yeah.
And
look, it's so depressing, man. Like I don't want to police it. You know that.
Yeah.
Like I know fans are going to buy a $15 ticket on the east side and come sit in premium seating if nobody's there.
Yeah.
What are we going to do?
Yeah.
And I told you this the other day.
It's a problem that goes away when there's more attendance.
It goes away. It goes away as people buy season tickets and there's greater attendance.
Good point. Yep.
And I hope that people, and we got to rethink that over time. Also, there's different ways for us to handle that issue. Mm-hmm. As we've talked about. We don't need to dive into that now.
No.
But what we've tried to do is give that full east side the lowest ticket price possible.
Yeah.
And I think we might have raised the price over there $1 this year over year.
Mm-hmm.
And I can tell you our expenses went up more than,
$1 ticket,
6%. Or whatever. So we try to keep it really reasonable.
This is a great segue. I mean, the topic of ticketing, I have interest in it, but it's not something I feel like I have enough familiarity with it. Plus, I just want people I encourage people constantly, reach out to the club. If you have suggestions, ideas, questions, concerns, whatever about whether it's tickets or anything to do with that whole topic.
Yep.
It's not something I bring up very often on the podcast. I've even stopped bringing up stuff that's related to things that are outside the club's control, related to like concessions or beer and that stuff. I'm like, as long as they've got water in there, which that was the topic that I did freak out about in the first year.
Yeah.
That's been addressed. As long as that is addressed, I will be relatively chill. I wish the concessions were cheaper. I wish our public facilities district negotiated a better contract so that pricing stuff did not get out of control. Because I don't like it when I feel like in combination with USL Spokane has to do what it can with tickets to be able to make this thing work and make it viable. And then families are also getting hit hard by concession pricing that actually doesn't get set by the club. And it gets really expensive. And affordability comes into question. That's the stuff that I tend to care quite a bit about. But I want to talk about the topic of losing money which most professional sports teams do lose money. You and I have both seen the TV show called Sunderland Till I Die, which is about promotion and relegation for the hated Sunderland Football Club, because I'm a Newcastle supporter. So I have to just get that in there. Right. I love that show so much. I'm actually sad that they got promoted and now they're even better than Newcastle in the Premier League. That's a topic for another day. They've gotten a little too good. But this is during a time where Stuart Donald had invested in the club, and he's meeting with some supporters, and he's basically saying, say whatever you want. And they're going off and they're saying this, that, and the other about they should sign this player. And he basically says, I hear everything you're saying, but I lost X millions of dollars last year.
I think it was 27 million.
Yeah,
pounds.
Totally. So that's what it was.
Yeah.
So
crazy. Yeah.
I want to ask you about the topic. I know you believe in the sport of soccer. I know you love Spokane. You're from here. How do you balance your desire to do good through this endeavor, but also maintain financial stability or even viability?
Yep. Yeah.
How do you balance that, or how are you trying to balance that?
It's pretty hard. Look, we knew that our investor group is growing. We knew when we launched that the goal ultimately 3 to 5 years down the road would be a grand slam home run to be break even. Okay. I'm talking grand slam. I mean, as you know, over half of MLS teams lose money. And these are people that are receiving media rights payments. Everything in USL, this is Championship League and League One and Super League and soon to be USL Premier. All revenues are local. I'll say that again. All revenues are local. There are no milestone payments coming to clubs. Okay. We pay for our broadcast.
There's no TV deal.
You want some tea?
Sure.
Okay. Super League games cost me $14,500 for broadcast. Okay.
Yeah. You pay to broadcast.
Game.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, per game.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Referees cost me $6,000 per game. League One cost me $9,500 per game. We pay for our broadcasts. And so
I just think, for just real quickly, a lot of people may have forgotten or just have to be reminded that, like, whenever you think of the NBA or your favorite Premier League team, they're getting tens of millions, hundreds of millions in the case of the Premier League to have their games broadcast by Sky or BBC or whoever.
Yep.
This is the opposite. This is paid to play.
Yeah, the league is young.
Yeah.
A couple of years ago, the NWSL got a $240 million 4-year media rights deal. It was the kind of their first big media rights deal. But I will tell you, that's not all cash. Okay. Yeah. There's an in-kind trade component to that, which is publicity and marketing.
Okay.
And then there's a cash component too.
Sure.
USL is our media rights deal with ESPN and with CBS and Peacock for Super League. Mm-hmm. Those deals run one more year and then they're being renewed. We can't expect as owners to see a huge media rights deal until adoption and fan engagement and eyeballs on TV screens get much larger.
Until promotion relegation happens and people are just like, speaking of Sunderland Till I Die, they're like, I'm glued to the TV to see, is Velocity FC going to win this final home game and then get promoted? Yeah,
guys, it's all fan engagement goes through the roof when you have games of consequence. And that's why ProRel is so important.
Yes.
But to get back to your question, it's hard to balance. We have a very, very high costs of operating. We don't operate on the same business model as the Chiefs or the Indians locally. Okay. We have fully professional players, Super League players. We provide benefits for 100% of the pay, 100% of their premiums we pay. League One, we offer our players healthcare benefits. I know there's big brouhaha in Championship League right now over their CBA. We locally in Spokane, we cover our players. We cover League One players and Super League players. And we feel really good about being able to do that. It was really important to us to give them a good quality of life. And part of that was in health insurance. So, but anyway, this all comes at a tremendous cost. So my job, Katie and I both have this job, of course, but my job is to keep this thing rolling. Okay.
Yeah.
While we're operating in the red. And you know, when we make an ownership announcement that I've brought in another investor, these are people who have put, in some cases, 7 figures of their personal money into our club to keep it going and keep it building as we grow our fan base and we sell more tickets, and that leads to more merch sales and sponsorship eyeballs. And my job is to keep it going and get it sustainable. And it will take time to get there. And it's every club has this challenge. Every club does. And that's just, that's part of growing a brand. And I hope over time, I hope that we're in a position to get to break even, in a few years. And I think that we can, but we've got to continue to try and do better every year with marketing and finding fans and bringing people into the stadium. And we hope that the community continues to buy in and corporate partnerships continue to be strong. There's been good support from the business community for the club. That's growing. But yeah, it's a really challenging environment everywhere.
Yeah. Let's talk about something fun.
Okay.
Kind of like, we'll call it like the philosophy and the model of developing the performance side of these teams. So Jared wants to know, has there been any thoughts on an academy system now that we're a few years in? If not, is it more about the budget, or is it something where Velocity or Zephyr might be taking away from other entities that act as an academy? Spokane Shadow has come up in the past, Surf, others, I'm sure. Just curious, as we had Rocky Wells and he's going to go off and win a Champions League in the future, and it would be really cool if we could start consistently building talent from this area. But just how we are building our club from a roster construction perspective, like what our attitude is about it. You've talked a lot about it, but as far as the academy and youth side of things go.
Yeah, we didn't want to come into the market and launch an academy. There's the youth market here has got several large clubs that are doing their thing, and we really needed to focus on launching the pro teams. That being said, it is part of our longer term strategy, and this year we're pivoting a little bit to make some steps towards that. Player signings like Rocky as our first academy contract for Velocity.
Sure.
And Al on the women's side.
Yep.
I mean, these are really important starts, but like everything we do, we probably are doing it a little too slowly in some ways. A youth academy for us, by the way, and I'm not saying this is what Richmond does or anybody else. I'm not talking about anybody else. We don't want a youth academy to financially support our club.
Yeah.
Katie and I never wanted to come into this market and make money off of kids.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying, and again, I'm not saying this about any other club.
The FIFA career mode puppy mill.
Yeah. Look, if we do a youth academy, it'll start small.
Sure.
The league, of course, wants us to do it. We, of course, want to do it to develop players. If we did it, what it might look like is something like us launching a boys and a girls U18 or U19 team and starting with one team at one age group. And then working backwards. Okay. So I don't know. I can't really comment on the timing on that. I just think that we're trying to integrate those players. And by the way, we have youth players training with our teams on the men's side and on the women's side very regularly, not just Rocky or Al. There's others that come in and train with us who Lee and Nicole and their staffs are always evaluating. And we're in communication with the technical leadership of the area clubs. And when they have a player that they'd like us to take a look at, we've always said we don't want those players going to Seattle and playing for Crossfire.
Yeah.
We want to keep them here if we can. And so that's what we're doing. We're doing it really surgically right now, and more on other plans later, I guess.
Are both Rocky and Al, are they on homegrown player contracts?
Yeah, they're just
the one where they don't travel. Is that correct?
Actually, they could travel.
They could.
We're allowed to give them if they traveled. I think we're allowed to give them food and shelter.
Okay,
and nothing more. I mean, they to preserve their NCAA eligibility.
Totally.
So,
but they could play on in a road game if they, because I know there's one where they're only eligible to play on home games, but that's a different designation.
No, we could travel them. It's just really hard to travel an academy player,
of course,
because contrary to some people online's popular belief, it's very difficult to get it on the field in League One.
Of course.
And the difference between players and talent. It's Rocky's a great player, but he's so young.
He's so young. He's so raw. He's a kid.
Yeah.
He knows it too.
Yeah, of course.
Hey, he made a couple good turns in that game. I can't remember who we were playing against, but I was proud of him.
No, look, and Lee's great, and he's tough, and he wants Rocky to earn it, of course. And I'm super excited, by the way, that Rocky is headed off to Oregon State to play soccer.
That's awesome. Shout out Rocky.
Yeah. So we're all about helping these kids develop and move up and on. So
Okay. Yeah. Let's take one more quick break, Ryan. When we return, we've got a couple final questions for you.
All right.
We have a couple more questions here. Emmy and Zach had a similar question. They want to know the backstory of this collaboration of bringing the Sounders and Reign teams over here to play at one. I know Katie had a lot to do with it. Is this a one-off situation due to World Cup preparation, or is there a possibility of other games to be played over here in the future? It's a great question.
Yeah, it's an awesome question. And about a year ago, we went through this kind of trial run because the Sounders qualified for Champions Cup.
You're going to talk about this. Hell yeah.
This is like a year ago.
Yeah.
They called us like a year ago and they qualified through either winning another cup or something.
Yeah.
And they were vaulted into this round of the Champions Cup, and Lumen Field was not available that day. I think there might've been like an RV show there or something crazy. So they call us and we went through, of course we were like, yeah, absolutely. So that, in order for them to have played a year ago, roughly here, they would have had to win a game. There was a 2-leg game against Cruz Azul, and they did not win it. And so
not only did they not win it, they came away with injuries. And
so it did not go their way, and we were bummed.
Yeah.
But it came back around this year, and Katie is taken the last year. And the backstory here is we have very strong ties to leadership, technical leadership at both the Sounders and the Reign. Josh McAllister was at the Reign for years. Gareth and Lee are both connected to their technical staffs. Pro soccer is small, and Gareth knows everybody, as you might know.
Yes, so does Josh, dude.
And you know, Katie and I both have gotten to know the Sounders and Reign leadership fairly well. We live in Seattle, as most people know. You know, we've met with them often. Adrian Hanauer lives very close to us. We see him. We have a really good relationship with those guys. And we also have the only FIFA certified turf in the region that was, they needed to have for the CONCACAF match.
This is a really important observation about this whole story. For people who don't know, I've known this. It's your story to tell. I'll just tee it up. But basically, USL Spokane, when you originally got together with the Public Facilities District and the school board and whatever to figure out this lease and everything else.
Yeah.
You wanted to put some additional improvements into the stadium, in part that have been pretty critical to this decision-making process around FIFA designating this is a suitable surface and so forth. And a bunch of people, right when this topic got introduced, when Jeremy Oshan from Sounder at Heart teased it on social media that this could happen, and people were like, no, they should just play at UW. They should play at Starfire. They should play at all these other places. And one by one, credit to people who know, they were like, that is not FIFA certified. You can't play there.
Yeah. I mean, I will say this. So our club put $4 million. It ended up being about $4.5 million of our money into One Spokane Stadium, in an agreement that when the stadium was being contemplated, the league was kind enough to say, hey, we're going to put a League One club here, and that club will invest $4 million into stadium upgrades. So things that you see around the stadium that make it a nice commercial venue, that's where those dollars were spent. Video board, LED ribbon, and upgraded turf and upgraded lighting, which is quite expensive, premium seating and hospitality. So the investments that were made are a huge reason why we were able to secure these matches.
Yeah.
The NWSL standards weren't quite as high as the CONCACAF ones, but the CONCACAF people flew in here. I mean, Katie worked on this for a year, so I'm not taking credit for one part of this, except I did come to Spokane and tour the CONCACAF people around. That's about the extent of my involvement. This was Katie Harnetiaux's thing. Okay. And I credit her with just, it was a long process. But to get our turf tested and qualify was an expensive endeavor. We did it twice. They fly people in here who are like very limited number of people on this planet can certify a turf for FIFA. And it involves about 7 hours of testing on the field.
What the hell are they doing?
When they show up with suitcases, big trunks full of equipment. They are testing everything from the fiber. They take samples. I mean, they're testing the roll speed of the ball, how the ball bounces. They're taking a sample from there that gets sent to a lab. We have outstanding turf.
Wow, this is cool.
And it's about the sublayers below the top also. And so anyway, when that got cleared, which was no small feat, we were then able to secure the certificate in hand, allowed us to make that announcement.
How long does that certificate last?
3 years.
Okay, hell yeah.
And the next time we have to get it, the cost is $250,000 for that certificate. And so let's make it the best 3 years of our lives. So
wait, what do you mean? What of the work that was done before, part of that $4 million was this $250,000 certification?
No.
What do you mean?
It didn't cost that this time, but the rules have been changed by FIFA for in the future. The certification is going to cost a lot more. Let's put it that way.
It did not cost $250,000. Oh my God.
No. But anyway, but the reality is
it could happen again. Long story short.
Yeah. It paves the way for us to host games.
Badass.
And we, the school district or the PFD certainly can host, high school and college events at the stadium. And we have the marketing rights for anything beyond those.
Okay.
So it allows us to go out, and we work with the PFD on scheduling these events. And they were shout out to the PFD and to Spokane Public Schools, who both moved some events around to help us bring these events in here, because they were, as you know, we don't have control of the calendar of the stadium.
Right.
And so we had to work closely with them. As soon as we knew that it was going to happen, everybody had to scramble quickly and do some adjusting. And we really thank them for that. And for that, I think I'm allowed to announce this. I own the club, so nobody can yell at me. Katie can yell at me.
Yeah, I was going to say, you're going to get yelled at. So go ahead and say it.
I think some of the high school teams that call One Spokane Stadium home, some of the soccer teams that play there, I think are part of the walkouts for the CONCACAF matches and stuff. The players are going to be able to participate, which is really cool.
Yeah.
CONCACAF has rules about player walkouts. Kids have to be over 16.
By the way, anybody who's wondering, this is news drop. Ryan doesn't even know what I'm about to say.
Oh boy.
I had to go through the process of trying to get media credentials for this CONCACAF Champions Cup game. No shot.
Really?
No way. I have to present these weird things. I don't remember what one of these things was called, but basically they're like, are you an established thing that people care about? And the Spokane Soccer Show is cool and all, but when it comes to the CONCACAF Champions League,
Benji, would you like a 3-day internship with USL Spokane?
This is clever.
From March 15th through 18th.
Let's go. Of course I would. And so would this kid who goes to Gonzaga, who would literally be an intern.
Would you guys be willing to wear an intern shirt?
Hell yeah.
And show people to their seats or something like that?
I'll do anything once.
All right. Again, here I am promising you things I should.
Yeah, totally. You're going to get yelled at for that too. Yeah, you're going to get yelled at for two things. I want to show you this video really quick on Twitter.
Okay.
You seen this, dude?
No.
It's a time lapse.
Is this the snow shovel?
Brian, I don't know Brian's last name, from KXLY. It took a bit of time today for the snow to melt away at One Spokane Stadium and make way for soccer practice. He has this time lapse from the KXLY building, which is right across the street. And it's the melting of the turf so that the teams could play. And I bring that up as a segue into a topic that I want to ask you about, which is indoor training facility ever for the teams? Yeah. I know that'd be sick.
Yeah. I mean, look, there's a lot of
and not cheap.
No, it's a project that we're in the early stages of talking about. And there's some concept drawings that we've done with, with somebody around that project. And what I can say is, we're
it's the third thing that Ryan's going to get yelled at for talking about.
I'm allowed to talk about this part.
Okay.
We hope to construct an offsite facility. We're in a very large capital raise right now, which is not, that information was public last summer, but part of that larger capital raise for the club is to really begin this process of design, permitting, acquiring the right land for it, because we know that the club needs a home to get out of the bad weather. So we're working on it, and we're excited to hopefully see some significant movement on the design of that project later this summer. I hope so.
That'd be amazing.
But it's a 2-year project to get moving. So
I had to ask, and it was perfect when I saw the timing on Twitter the other day of that video. I was like, I've got to ask Ryan that question.
The guys are leaving for 8 days in Phoenix and Tucson to get out of this weather on Saturday. So they're excited. And we did the same thing with the Zephyr.
Can you give me that intern bib to be on that plane?
Yeah. Yeah. Zephyr spent a week in Florida last month as part of a get out of the bad weather scene. So
I'm going to save that for another episode. I've taken a lot of your time today. It's been really fun, but the competitive disadvantage with a USL league that just cannot seem to stop announcing clubs from the state of Florida. Florida, man. One last, I think this will be a fairly quick topic. Yeah. Is VAR ever coming to USL soccer?
I mean, I think that.
Do you want it to? I guess is part one of that question. Then part two.
I do.
Do you think it'll happen?
I do. I do. I think that what I would say on that is we had a chance to review that for Super League this winter, and the cost of implementing a video review system wasn't a true VAR, but it would have added 8 cameras in addition to the Speedio system we have at the stadium and the 4 cameras that shoot Super League games, everything triangulated into an iPad or something. And it was a coach's challenge kind of system. And the cost of implementing it was voted down. Let's just put it that way.
I like the idea of this because what's happening in England right now has ruined the sport of soccer. I don't even like watching games anymore. I don't know whether to cheer. Yeah. Should I cheer?
It's hard.
Even when I get a notification on FootMob, Ryan, I'm like, Newcastle scored. And then I'm thinking to myself, but did they?
Then you have to wait 7 minutes.
But did they?
Yeah.
Yeah. And oftentimes I'm like, yep, it goes back to 0-0 on FootMob.
Yeah.
Like, this, I'm out.
It's hard. I will say this as the
coach's challenge is a great idea.
Yeah. As the economics around winning and losing become larger.
True.
With ProRel, God. I think that VAR of some type has to be voted through by the men's leagues. I hope that at some point it can be done in Super League as well. But for the men's leagues, when you have promotion and relegation
on the line,
and you have what we call key match incidents,
of course,
which are reported to the referees union after all of our games by our staff and others. And by the way, I get fined for complaining about refs, so it's not what I'm doing. So I think
to be clear,
hey, I don't.
Paul McDonough,
mistakes happen, but if it is a matter of life or death,
seriously,
in a ProRel match, we want to be able to make sure the right call was made as often as possible. So I hope we do it.
Goal line technology, offside.
Yeah. Well, key match incidents are red cards.
Handballs, penalties,
a goal denying situation. Yeah. Offsides, handball, whatever. So yeah. I think those things all should be able. Once ProRel is here, I think in 28 we need to have it in place. So I hope it is.
And for anybody who didn't know what Ryan meant by this, it's come up on the pod a couple times. But Speedio is this technology, these little bird's eye view cameras that are in most stadiums that give you plenty of information as to whether or not a player was offside. It's a view you do not see on the broadcast. No. And it was how I was able to find out that, yes, Gianna Gorley was offside in that goal that was scored, the equalizer against Zephyr FC.
Yeah.
I have one last fun one.
Let's go.
One last contribution from the community.
All right.
This community member's name is Nicole Lukic.
Nicole Lukic. I know her.
Nicole says, shout out Coach Lukic. True or false? We broke some hearts in Carolina. Let's go.
That is true. That was an excellent win, and I could not have been happier that day. And we needed it.
Yeah.
And so I saw the team training yesterday, and after a win like that, I'm always happy to see those faces. And I was really proud of them. I'm like, you guys, great job, great result. And they're headed to. We don't really publicize this, but we're headed to play the Utah Royals in Utah. They invited us down for a friendly.
Oh yeah,
it's a closed match against an NWSL club, which would be fun for our team.
I thought that got announced. Am I wrong?
I don't know.
Okay,
I don't know. So we've got that, and
but it's always weird when clubs announce. I'm just being honest, and think this is a lot of USL people share this perspective. It's like, why does clubs announce things that are happening that they can't attend?
Yeah, I'm kind of like,
it's like cool, we get to play these teams, but I also don't get to see it.
Yeah,
even if I were to fly to Phoenix, I can't go watch these games.
That's not true. They're out I think they're out in the open at a big complex.
Wow.
Why, you want to go to Tucson?
No, of course I would, but I mean, technically, like fans can't go and just watch these games. I don't think.
I don't know, man.
Most of them will say closed.
I don't
to
know.
public. Oh, whatever.
Benji, what if I told you?
See, here you go. This is the fourth thing you've said that you shouldn't say. Look, I'm going to wrap it there. Thank you so much, Ryan, for your time. I cannot sugarcoat, listener, what's about to happen in March because it's going to be insane. Saturday, March 14th, 6 p.m., Zephyr FC host their first game of 2026 at home here at One Stadium against Brooklyn FC. Sunday, March 15th, you get less than 24 hours, 3 p.m., Velocity FC host their first game of 2026 against Union Omaha. Then 3 days later, Wednesday, March 18th at 8 p.m., the Seattle Sounders will be hosting a team to be named in the CONCACAF Champions League. Oh, and in case you missed it, the next week, March 25th and March 28th, Seattle Reign will host Kansas City Current and Racing Louisville at One Stadium. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. There's plenty of time to talk about that on a future episode. The beautiful game will be wonderful and inescapable in 2026. So thank you, Spokane, for showing up as we know you will. Thank you to Spokane Soccer Show sponsors, Flatstick Pub, Spokane City Credit Union, Inland Imaging, and Wildland Co-op. Thank you, Ryan Harnetiaux, for being our first guest of Season 4 of the Spokane Soccer Show. Mike and I will be back in a couple weeks to check in again on our next episode. Until then, thank you for listening.
Thanks, everybody. Thanks, Benji.
Did it.